Hey there, friendos. Today, we're going to take a quick break from cringemas for another thrilling episode of My Five Faves. Today, we're going to go over my favorite albums from 2018. 2018 was actually, in my opinion, a really great year for music. There were a lot of great songs that came out this year, and there were a lot of artists that made comebacks and released new experimental type stuff, so it was just a really great year all around. Choosing this year's top 5 was actually really hard. A lot harder than last year. But after some careful deliberation, I think I've finally settled on my top 5. I also want to do something fun to get into the spirit of the album, so I think I'm going to try doing something special for each one of the 5. Alright, let's get it started. Album number 1, Star Cruiser by Vinyl Theater. I don't have either of my Outer Space shirts with me right now, so bad Star Wars pun shirt is the best we're gonna get. I discovered Vinyl Theater a couple years ago through my Spotify Discover playlist through the song Breaking Up My Bones. I really enjoyed the song, and I tried listening to some of their other stuff and I liked that too. Their older stuff was a bit more electro-poppy, I guess. This album feels really diverse and fresh compared to the one that came before it. To be honest, when I first heard the single Masterpiece, I didn't think that much of it. Like, it was okay, but I wasn't sure what it meant for the rest of the album. But I really did like another one of the singles they released, Feel It All. And when Star Cruiser finally came out, listening to all those songs together made me appreciate the music a little bit more. Even Masterpiece, which at first I didn't really like, now I think it's a pretty great song. Overall, the album is kind of introspective and melancholic in a way, but there are a couple bright spots that keep the album from being too gloomy and depressing. To me, this seems like a really solid entry into Vinyl Theater's discography, and if they keep this up, then it can only be onwards and upwards for them. Like a Star Cruiser, going onwards and upwards. Like the album title, Star Cruiser. Next album. The next album is Hiding Place by Tori Kelly. This album kind of caught me by surprise because I hadn't listened to any Tori Kelly music since maybe 2 or 3 years ago. So hearing her come out with this spiritual soul album was kind of a shocker for me. But then I listened to the album and I was like, wow, Tori Kelly can sing! All the tracks have a really great vibe, and you can tell that Tori has a lot of passion and belief behind what she's singing about. Like I mentioned earlier, this album was surprising, but also weirdly refreshing in a way. I was talking to one of my friends about this album, and I was like, wow, I didn't know Tori Kelly was a soul singer. And she was like, Tori Kelly has always been a soul singer. And the more I thought about it, the more I was like, huh, I guess she has. This album is really inspirational and really well written, so if you get the chance to listen to it, you should definitely do so. Next album. I'm a Bandito Now. As you probably guessed by the Bumblebee color scheme, the next album is Trench by 21 Pilots. So apparently there was a TOP hiatus that I didn't really know about because I'm not a Click member. But anyway, back in whatever month they made their comeback in, they released the singles Jumpsuit and Nico and the Niners. I liked both of them. I thought they both had really cool styles, but again, the singles weren't really enough to show me what the rest of the album would be like. A little bit later, they released Levitate and My Blood, both of which I really enjoyed. My Blood in particular, just because the lyrics and the overall feel of the song really spoke to me. So I listened to Trench when it came out, and I was like, okay, I might as well, give it a try because the singles are okay. And I didn't expect to like it that much, but I actually really liked it. All of the songs have a really unique sound to them, except maybe Bandito, because it kind of just sounds like Jumpsuit's twin brother. Besides that, they're all pretty unique. I wouldn't say it's the greatest album of all time, but definitely listen to it. Even if you don't believe the hype. I don't believe the hype. Alright, next album. Next up, we have Youngblood by 5 Seconds of Summer. Can we get like a 5 Seconds of Summer poster in the background? Much better. Again, I don't keep up with band fandoms that much, so when I heard Want You Back in March or April, I was like, how have they not gone the way of One Direction and split up already? But I did like the song, and I ended up listening to it a lot over the summer. Or actually no, it was only for About 5 seconds.
I'm so tired of being here.
I kind of put off listening to this album because I was like, I'm probably going to enjoy it too much and then I'll have too much music to deal with. But eventually I gave in and I listened to it, and yes, I did end up enjoying it way too much. It's very basic boy band pop music, but it's also really enjoyable in some weird way. One thing I will say though is that they should have been smarter in choosing their band name, like One Direction. Because when Justin Timberlake left, they didn't have to change it to like Four Directions. They just kept being One Direction. And then they split up eventually, so none of it really mattered. That's kind of beyond the point. Youngblood is great. Go listen to it. Next, album. Our final album is... Oh, wait. I need my tea first. Our final album is A Brief Inquiry into Online Relationships by the 1975. When the 1975 released, I Like It When You Sleep because blah 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 blah. I listened to it and I thought it was okay, but there were only a couple tracks that stood out to me, so I didn't really think that much of the album. And it was kind of the same way for this one at first. They released Give Yourself a Try, and I listened to it and I was like, I mean, it's pretty emo, but okay. Then later they released Love It If We Made It, and I was like, this is pretty aggressive, but okay. And then when Two Time came out, I was like, wow, this is a banger. So eventually the full album came out and I listened to it, and it kind of sank in. I was just like, oh my god, this is such a masterpiece. More of a masterpiece than masterpiece? Oh, masterpiece? This is the real masterpiece. And it's kind of funny because going online, I saw a lot of people commenting about how it wasn't as good as their previous albums. And I was just like, shut up! It's a masterpiece! It touches on the themes of romance and technology and society and so many other things that I think make it a lot more meaningful and topical than any of the other albums that they've put out. I think a lot of people would disagree with me and say that this album doesn't feel like the old 1975 or something like that, but I think it's absolutely brilliant. Stream ABIIOR. That's it from me. Cheerio.
Approximately 10 hours later.
Yeah, that'll do it for my top albums of 2018. But we ended a little bit early, so I guess there's only one thing left to do. Bonus Fave! For this Bonus Fave segment, I'm going to be talking about an EP that came out this year that I really enjoyed listening to. But Steven, you didn't do Bonus Fave last year. And also, you picked an EP as one of your 5 faves. You're absolutely right, from the past. How about we swap out that Echosmith EP with Colors by Beck? So that being said, we don't really need you anymore. Wait, what? That's not even the right special effect? The EP that I wanted to give a shout out to is Nina Cried Power by Hozier. Hozier's been kind of MIA for the past few years, so seeing them return with this EP was kind of a shock, but a welcome surprise. There are only 4 tracks on this EP, but each one has a distinctly different feel while maintaining that Hozier sense of Hozier-ness. I don't know if this EP is pointing toward a new album in the near future, especially since they released another single pretty recently, but if they are planning on releasing a new album, I think this EP is setting the bar quite high for whatever content they produce next. It's a super quick listen, so if you get the chance, go listen to it. That about wraps it up for this episode. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, tell your friends, and tomorrow we return to our regularly scheduled cringemas programming. See ya!